All right, today we're diving into something pretty unsettling. It's a look at a new kind of power, one that argues real control, the kind that shapes the world, isn't really about armies or governments anymore. Nope. It's hidden in plain sight, tucked away in lines of code and dense legal documents. And the document we're looking at kicks off with this just chilling line. And listen, this isn't meant to be some kind of exaggeration. It's really more of a mission statement. The idea here is that a few really cryptic file names hold the power to literally turn entire nations on and off. Yeah, just like a light switch. So that's really the heart of what we're digging into today. What if the new weapons of mass disruption aren't bombs at all? What if they're lines of code, strands of DNA? This whole thing suggests a new kind of war is being fought, not on any battlefield you'd recognize, but inside legal documents, complex financial contracts, and even lab notebooks. So let's kick things off where all big power plays seem to start, with money. But hold on, because this isn't about just earning money or even stealing it. No, this is about something much deeper. It's about fundamentally rewriting the rules of money itself, quietly, from the inside out. Okay, so each one of these operations we're going to look at has a public face, a totally harmless-sounding name meant to deflect any real attention. And our first one is called Patient Zero Capital. I mean, sounds like just another venture capital fund, right? Nothing to see here. But yeah, the reality is way more radical. The real engine here is a super dense 150-page legal document. This PDF, this file, is basically engineered to do two things. First, it outlaws the potential government-backed digital dollar. Then, and this is the crazy part, it hijacks the entire system for clearing US dollars. We're talking about the financial plumbing of the whole economy, and it reroutes all of it through a private permissioned blockchain. And just so we're all on the same page here, a CBDC is a central bank digital currency. Think of it as an official government-run digital dollar. So by getting that outlawed and creating a private replacement, this move, well, it essentially privatizes the very core function of a national currency. It creates a sovereign off switch for the entire country's money. All right, let's look at the next one and see how this pattern starts to build. This one calls itself the Legacy Hits Fund. It sounds like something that deals with old music royalties. Kind of nostalgic, right? Maybe even a little boring. But underneath that boring name, it's pure financial alchemy. What's really happening is they're pushing a bill to retroactively extend copyright law by 120 years. Think about that. With one simple legal change, they instantly create a whole new class of assets, value that literally did not exist a second before. And then they use that new value as collateral to issue bonds. They are literally turning abstract legal theory into billions of dollars of cold, hard cash. So here's the kicker. What did they do with all that money? They raised $1.4 billion, and with that cash, they bought control of Nevada's water aquifers. Let that sink in. They turned an abstract change in copyright law into direct control over one of the most vital physical resources on the entire planet. Okay, so you can see this isn't just about clever financial engineering anymore. The next phase of this whole strategy is about taking direct control of the very systems that run our society. We're talking information, law, and the physical infrastructure that we all depend on every single day. And again, check out the public name. What could possibly sound more harmless than Social Good Networks, Inc.? It sounds like a charity, right? Or some do-gooder nonprofit. But what's hiding behind that name is a completely radical new way to manufacture and influence policy. And what they've built is, well, it's a frighteningly efficient new model of influence. Here's how it works. An AI constantly scans public sentiment online. The second a topic hits some trigger, say a 60% reaction threshold, the system automatically drafts legislation that mirrors that sentiment. And then it deploys an army of bots to start lobbying lawmakers. The entire cycle, from a Twitter mob's outrage to an actual bill on a senator's desk, can happen in just a few hours. It's basically weaponized populism on autopilot, and it completely cuts out any kind of human deliberation or judgment. Okay, here's another one, and this comes straight from the heart of the tech industry. The public face is just AI chip innovator. Sounds great, right? That's exactly the kind of company that governments are falling over themselves to encourage. But the real play here is something else entirely. The goal is to get their most powerful AI chips reclassified under international arms regulations as military hardware. So why would you do that? Simple, because once something is officially classified as a weapon, you can legally build in a kill switch.
And that, in turn, creates a brand new multi-billion-dollar market for kill switch insurance. You see the logic? Control the chip, control the kill switch, you control the new economy.
And if you thought that was unsettling, well, this final section shows where this is all really heading. Because now we're moving beyond just code and legal contracts. Now we're talking about weaponizing the fundamental building blocks of the physical world itself: biology, energy, physics. So let's look at the Mars Now Foundation. I mean, it's an inspiring, forward-looking name, right? It makes you think of space exploration, the future of humanity. The public image is one of pure aspiration. But the hidden project is something else: a Department of Defense modification kit. And what this source claims is that this kit is designed to turn the power cells, the batteries in common consumer electronics, into actual functioning neutron generators. I mean, we're not talking about code anymore. This is the weaponization of everyday objects at a fundamental physics-based level. And for our final example, this one comes wrapped up in the language of green energy: the Orbital Solar Heritage Foundation. It sounds fantastic, like a project designed to save the planet. The reality, though, it's a privately owned, space-based platform that can beam 50 gigawatts of microwave power down to a single private ranch in Texas. Now, to put that in perspective, 50 gigawatts is enough energy to power tens of millions of homes. And the most important part, it completely bypasses the public power grid, ERCOT. This is the ultimate sovereign off switch, a private, completely unaccountable energy source that wields the power of a small nation. So, okay, we've looked at all these seemingly separate projects. What's the big takeaway? Well, the point is they are not random. They're all pieces of a much larger puzzle, and when you put them together, they reveal a very clear pattern: the dawn of what this source calls test tube supremacy. And this really puts it all into perspective. For centuries, power was something you could see. It meant controlling armies, signing treaties, running central banks. But this new model of power, it operates through opaque, smart contracts, hidden lab notebooks, and digital kill switches. It's decentralized, it's incredibly complex, and it's almost totally invisible to the old, traditional levers of state power. And this really gets us to the absolute core of the argument. This quote from the document says it all: regulators negotiate with lab notebooks, not people. Think about that. You can't put a line of code on trial. You can't haul a complex financial derivative into court. Power isn't held by a person you can negotiate with anymore. It's in the autonomous, self-executing systems they've created. The system itself becomes the sovereign. Which, of course, leaves us with one final, unavoidable question. As these private, sovereign off-switches get woven deeper and deeper into our money, our laws, our very infrastructure, who holds the ultimate check and balance? Who has the kill switch for the kill switch? And what happens if the answer to that question is nobody?